Hello and welcome to Spectrum TV News at 4. I am Francis Oyima, and it's coming to you live from Rio, the capital city of Akwa Ibom State. Let's take a look at the headlines. Senate okays Maida as NCC Executive Vice Chairman. Federal government set to set up disability decks in MDAs. Plus, Spain's Pedro Sanchez wins new term as Prime Minister after amnesty deal. We'll bring you details of the stories and more in a moment. Thanks for joining us. We begin the news this afternoon from the Red Chambers, where the Senate has confirmed the nomination of Aminu Maida for appointment as the Executive Vice Chairman of the Nigerian Communications Commission (NCC) by President Bola Tinubu. This followed the adoption and approval of the recommendation of the Senate Committee on Communications, chaired by Senator Ikra Bilbis, by the Senate at plenary. Senator Bilbis, in his report, said that Maida met all the lawful and academic criteria to be appointed as NCC's boss. Meanwhile, Maida had, prior to his nomination for appointment by President Tinubu, served as Executive Director, Technology and Operations at Nigeria Interbank Settlement System (PLC) (NIPSS). We move to the Green Chambers, where the chairman of the House Committee on Works and lawmaker representing Igbeda Ona Era Frederick constituency, Akin Alabi, has disclosed plans to visit and monitor ongoing road projects across the country. Speaking further, Alabi said the committee is committed to the betterment of the nation's road network and will start visiting major road projects to ascertain its current state. Reports say the road projects to be monitored span across the southwest, north central, southeast, south-south, northwest, and northeast, respectively. Meanwhile, Alabi affirmed that the current administration hopes to see the process from beginning to the end. Meanwhile, the House of Representatives is reportedly furious over the absence of the service chiefs and the Inspector General of Police, Kaide Gbetoku, at an interactive session scheduled to hold today during plenary. Recall that the House had last week scheduled a sectoral debate with the security chiefs, as it plans to do with all the sectors of the country. Following a constitutional point of order by the Deputy Speaker, Benjamin Kalu, the House rejected the representation of the security heads and instead postponed the session. The engagement has been rescheduled to take place Tuesday next week, as the House insisted that the service chiefs must appear at the debate. Away from that, the federal government has said that in order to meet the needs of persons living with disabilities, PLWDS, heads of ministries, departments and agencies, MDAs, must set up disability decks and assign officials to staff them. A senior special assistant, SSA to the President on Disability Matters, Mohammed Issa, made this known during a press conference in Abuja. Issa noted that his office would engage relevant stakeholders in the amendment of the Discrimination Against Persons with Disabilities Prohibition Act 2018. He added that the office would also work towards evolving mechanisms for the amendment of the Act to comply with the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities UNCRPD to remedy the various defects in the law. On labor matters, the Joint National Executive Council of the Nigeria Labour Congress (NLC) and the Trade Union Congress of Nigeria (TUC) has suspended its indefinite nationwide strike. A decision was reached at a meeting that deliberated on the outcome of an earlier interface with the federal government led by the National Security Advisor (NSA) Nuhu Ribadu. Organized labor said it has received a commitment from the Ribadu-led meeting that those arrested for the physical assault on NLC President Joe Ajero will be prosecuted. The NLC promised to bring both parties back to the table to iron out all issues in dispute, tendering an unreserved apology on behalf of the federal government for the brutalization Joe Ajero and other members of the Congress experienced. In a separate development, the Director General of the National Youth Service Corps (NYSC), Brigadier General Yeshua Ahmed, has warned Corps members to avoid every form of misconduct that may lead them into trouble during the service year. Ahmed also warned that violators of NYSC bylaws and other laws of the country would be sanctioned appropriately. The Director General said this in his address to Corps members during his visit to NYSC Kaduna State Orientation Camp in Kosala Dam Karaye and Katsina State Orientation Camp. While congratulating them on the successful completion of their courses of study, he added that improper dressing in NYSC uniforms attracts sanctions. We move to Nigeria's leader, President Bola Tinubu, who has declared open the 19th All-Nigeria Editors Conference in Uyo with an assurance that his administration will continue to provide an enabling environment for a free and robust media practice in the country. President Tinubu, who was the special guest of honor at the conference with the theme Stimulating Economic Growth, Technological Advancement, Role of the Media, urged media managers to be the gatekeepers against misinformation and disinformation in the society. The president, who was represented by the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris Malagi, said in fostering the pursuit of journalism in the country, the Nigerian government's commitment to freedom of the press is not waned. The president used the occasion to assure Nigerians that the federal government would reverse the worrisome trend in the economy. According to him, he was aware of the pains being faced by Nigerians and had taken critical steps to cushion the effect of petrol subsidy removal on the citizenry. In a related development, Akwa Ibom State Governor Pastor Omoyano has commended the Nigerian media for their role in strengthening democracy and good governance in Nigeria, while calling on governments at all levels to protect the freedom of the press to enable it play its watchdog and agenda-setting role. Governor Eno, who gave the commendation while speaking at the 19th All-Nigeria Editors Conference 2023, holding at the Ibom Icon Hotel and Golf Resort in Uyo, described the theme of the conference as apt, noting that it sought to examine critical issues in the nation as they relate to the role of the media and chart the way forward. The governor, who said the independence of the press is very important in a growing society, urged the press to try as much as possible to inform appropriately even in the face of all pressures. He used the occasion to roll out his achievements in various key sectors including education, agriculture, rural development, aviation and security advancement, among others. Also speaking, the Cross River State Governor, Prince Bassio II, was represented by the Commissioner for Information, Erasmus Ikbang, called for caution by media professionals, saying the trending use of artificial intelligence (AI) in the presentation of media items to the public, if not checked, was capable of destabilizing the peace in the society. In their separate remarks, the chairman of the conference, Sam Amuka, and the president, Nigeria Guild of Editors, Eze Anaba, stressed the need for participatory democracy for a better country, even as they lowered the continuum in the government of the Akwa Ibom State. They extolled the rise agenda of the state, which they affirmed was already yielding dividends. We move now to Africa, where Malawi's President Lazarus Chakwera has suspended with immediate effect all international travel involving himself and all government officials. He has also ordered all ministers currently outside the country to return home. Speaking in a televised address, Chakwera also announced restrictions on local travel and a reduction by half of the fuel allocation to cabinet ministers and senior government officials. The president said the measures will be in place until the end of the financial year next March. Still in Africa, South Africa President Cyril Ramaphosa says his country has referred Israel's government to the International Criminal Court (ICC) over its actions in the Gaza conflict. Ramaphosa noted that South Africa did not condone Hamas's earlier attack on Israel, but were opposed to Israel's ongoing actions, which the country believed warrant investigation by the ICC. Reports say South Africa has been one of the most vocal supporters of Palestinians in the ongoing conflict with Israel. On the foreign scene, after weeks of haggling, socialist leader Pedro Sanchez has clinched a vote in Parliament to lead Spain for another term as Prime Minister. Reports say he secured a 4-seat majority in the 350-seat chamber after sealing an amnesty deal for Catalans involved in a failed bid to secede from Spain. Meanwhile, Sanchez told members of Parliament that the amnesty deal would help heal wounds. Still on the foreign scene, the Israel Defense Forces IDF has said that the force has taken operational control of the harbor in Gaza City, which is the center of the Strip's fleet of fishing vessels. In a statement, the IDF said the harbor had also been used as a training facility for Hamas fighters. The statement added that the Israeli forces destroyed 10 tunnel shafts as part of the operation. Still to come in the news. Super Eagles to begin 2026 World Cup qualifier against Lesotho today. Please stay with us.
Nigerian police force, which is the only one allowed by grossly abused. Our governors have to share police powers with the president as stipulated by the constitution. We do not have a federal government police force. We have the Nigerian police force, which shall be administered, organized, and supervised by the Nigerian police force.
No, my lord, I want to say something. I want to say something here. Perhaps it might also enlarge the scope of people who should be invited here for examination. My lord, if we cannot find those who literally murdered Abiola, who are those people who could be said to be the beneficiaries of the death of Abiola?
Rogers has linked you with some of the killings he did.
He never did.
He linked you with the attempted murder of Hebrew.
He did not.
My lord, the matters council is leading the evidence in our matters.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord, but we can't be talking about cases which are in court,
Is
my
this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord. These cases are in court, my lord. I'm just reminding your lordship.
My lord, sorry, my lord, I think I'll be in cross-examination.
Legally Speaking, a program that deals with legal issues and questions we face as citizens of this amazing country, Nigeria. Legally Speaking. Join us every
Friday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
for Legally Speaking.
Many thanks for staying with us. Now to the rest of the news stories. On the business news, the federal government has urged West and Central African countries to collaborate for the success of the African Continental Free Trade Area, AFCFTA. Speaking during the 43rd Council and 18th Managing Directors Roundtable of the Port Management Association of West and Central Africa in Lagos, the Permanent Secretary of the Federal Ministry of Transportation, Magdalena Jani, called for a collective action for the success of AFCFTA. Ajani emphasized the need for a united Africa, stating that one Africa is possible if all participating countries decided to work together. She encouraged participants to turn discussions into actionable plans, assuring them that Nigeria, under the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, would prioritize the development of the maritime sector. Still in business, the Minister of Aviation and Aero Development, Festus Keyamo, has said that implementation of a single African air transport market would reduce intra-African trade deficit by 51%. Keyamo disclosed these at a workshop on African Aviation Market Integration Single African Air Transport Market Regulatory Framework organized by the African Civil Aviation Commission in Abuja. He stated that the quest to increase air connectivity between the African countries cannot be achieved without the involvement of the Foreign Affairs Ministry. The minister stressed the need to eliminate barriers inhibiting the growth of air connectivity in Africa. In health, United Nations has entered into a partnership with the federal government to develop a national disaster risk reduction action plan for Nigeria. The United Nations Development Programme Sahel Resilience Projects Manager in Nigeria, Rashmi Tikatel, made the announcement in Abuja at the workshop on the development of the National Disaster Risk Reduction Strategic Action Plan 2023 through 2030 for Nigeria. According to Tikatel, Nigeria has experienced 440 disasters with several catastrophic floods leading to the tragic loss of lives and economic loss across the country. Still in health, pulmonologists have said that air pollution and malnutrition must be checked to curb Nigeria's high pneumonia deaths, especially among children and the elderly. The experts in separate interviews with newsmen explained that pneumonia is an infectious disease that can be caused by bacteria, fungi, or viruses and affects the air sac in the lungs. They noted that environmental factors including indoor air pollution from unclean cooking sources, secondhand smoking and overcrowding further increase the risks of pneumonia in people of all ages. The physicians added that pneumonia was particularly common among neonates, children and the elderly due to their undeveloped and waning immunity. So sports now, where the Super Eagles of Nigeria have been listed among the top 20 most valuable national teams in the world. According to the latest statistics released by Transfermarkt, the three-time African champions are placed in 12th position in the world. Nigeria are behind the likes of England, Brazil, France, Portugal and Argentina in the ranking. Meanwhile, the value of England, France and Brazil's squads is over 1 billion euros, while Nigeria is valued at 460 million euros. Still in sports, the Super Eagles of Nigeria is set to begin the 2026 World Cup qualifier game against the Lacuna of Lesotho today. The 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifying tie is slated for the Godswill Akpabio International Stadium, Uyo, by 5 p.m. Reports say Nigeria will be without the trio Victor Osimhen, Samuel Chukwueze and Wilfred Ndidi for the game. To entertainment now, where Jada Pinkett Smith has spoken in defense of her estranged husband Will Smith, stressing that they will be suing brother Bilal, who levied sex allegations against him. Jeddah revealed this in an interview where she aired her standpoint regarding the claims by Bilal, who claimed that he once walked in on Will Smith and his friend Dwayne Martin having anal sex. She stated that they will definitely be taking legal actions against him for his malicious statements. Pinkett Smith added that Bilal once tried to extort them for some money on the grounds. Still on entertainment, Oscars organizers have said that American comedian Jimmy Kimmel is returning again to host the Oscars for the fourth time. According to the organizers, Kimmel will preside over Hollywood's biggest awards show for the second consecutive year after television ratings rebounded at last year's well-reviewed ceremony. The 96th Oscars will be held on March 10, 2024 at the Dolby Theatre in Hollywood. And that's all we have for you at this time. Do ensure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, SpectrumTVLive.ng. You've been watching Spectrum TV News at 4. I am Francis Oyima Edit. Many thanks and do enjoy the rest of your day.